This is WeTV, making a difference in your community, where our focus for this episode is the Diego Martin Highway expansion. Now, I know you may be anxious to speak with the Minister and the Director of Highways, but we have a few scenarios that we felt were important to be addressed. Reagan tackles a few of them next. Take a look.
Many of the Diego Martin residents have stated the new expansion of the Diego Martin Highway has made it almost impossible for traveling pedestrians to safely cross the street en route to their final destinations.
So for the soon to be open, newly improved Diego Martin Highway, well, it's been extended from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. It's much wider now, so residents of the area are a bit concerned. They worry for their safety, and they're asking the question, what accommodations will be put in place for those having to travel to work, travel to school, cross Peter Valley into Diego Martin and vice versa. More specifically, will there be a commuter walkover?
While the construction is taking place on the Diego Martin Highway, traffic has been diverted to Crystal Stream Junction, which some say has been more inconvenient than the original traffic system in place.
We're at the Crystal Stream Junction here in Diego Martin. The residents of the area have expressed serious concern as to the bottleneck effect that will be created by the highway. Firstly, with the closure of the Acton Court turnaround, which leads you back into Port of Spain, the bottleneck effect that happens here as motorists come here to turn around to go into Port of Spain. Secondly, there are breaches of law here at the Crystal Stream Junction that need to be addressed. There are illegal U-turns, there are illegal exits. How we will be dealing with that exactly? So the suggestion arises, will there be a roundabout place here to deal with those concerns?
There is no doubt that the convenient location of Diego Martin and environs has grown in popularity over the years. With the addition of several high-rise apartments in the area and improvements to long-standing infrastructure, Diego Martin has become a hub of socio-economic development. An increase in population is imminent.
So, Mr. Minister, great work has been done by the ministry addressing the flow of traffic into Diego Martin. Residents would like to know now what will be done in the near future to address the flow of traffic out of Diego Martin.
Whether it's heading to work, dropping the kids to school, or even visiting with friends and family, the likelihood of forgetting something at your point of departure is real, as many of us today live hectic lives. Before works take place to the roadway of the Diego Martin Highway, the average motorist had the luxury of returning to their destination quickly to retrieve items forgotten using many of the access roads available to them. For instance, the turnoff by Acton Court heading onto the Diego Martin Highway en route to Port of Spain, the turnoff to Victoria Gardens heading back onto the Diego Martin Main Road, or the turnoff by Powder Magazine heading to Westmore Glencoe, Carnage and back into the vicinity of Diego Martin. Now, with the blockage of these arteries or so-called access roads, in our haste to reach our final destinations on time, many of the residents of Diego Martin claim that forgetting items at home has become a distant memory and an inconvenience.
You know, as a Diego Martin resident, if you've forgotten something at home, you're allowed to use the turn-offs, the easy access points, which would be Acton Court, Victoria Gardens, or the Westmore Bow Tie. Now, with the construction of the highway, those things are closed off, and residents are now only allowed to use the turn-off at the Cook Reed Fishing Market to get back home. So the question has arisen, Mr. Minister, why exactly were those arteries cut off?
After the break, join us on set where we will take your calls live on air. You can also leave your questions on the ministry's Facebook page or tweet at MOWIGOVTT. WeTV will be right back.
Get real news in real time. Subscribe to the C News text alert service and get breaking news and daily updates right to your mobile phone. Simply text the keyword C News to CNMG to subscribe today. Subscription is free. Be in the know first with the C News text alert service. C News, compelling, committed, credible.
C News, delivering more news at more times to more people. From C News at high noon right until 6 p.m. Get your C News updates every hour on the hour. Never miss a story. Never miss what's new. Never miss your C News right here on CTV.
welcome back and thank you for joining us on CTV. We are live in studio with the Honorable Dr. Surutratan Rambachan and Mr. Rona Ganesh, the Director of Highways. Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Mr. Ganesh, for joining us this evening. Remember, viewers, that we want to hear from you, so contact us. Call us at 622-4141, extension 4, or send us a tweet at MOWIGOVTT, or just leave your questions on the Ministry's Facebook page. So let's get into the Diego Martin Highway and address some of the questions from Reagan's scenarios. The roundabout, would there be a roundabout by Crystal Stream?
No, not really. The designs for the improvement of the Diego Martin Highway really started from Victoria Avenue onto Acton Court, the expansion of the capacity there. What is happening at Crystal Stream right now basically is a temporary movement. You would notice some pile up there at sometimes peak hours, but that is only temporary because we have removed that turnaround by the big tree to facilitate the tie-in with the new highway, with the old highway. So that no longer exists, so you have to proceed to Crystal Stream to make the jug handle turnaround to head back on the southbound side. When the highway is commissioned next week, people accessing or who wants to get access to go back southbound will have to use the new enhanced and increased capacity Moncoko intersection with the highway. So of course that traffic that you would see piling up at Crystal Stream will no longer occur anymore.
Okay, great. So goodbye to that congestion. Another concern, would there be a walkover?
Yes, we are planning, we are right now designing a walkover. It will be located in the vicinity of Cuthbert Road, and from Cuthbert Road, that's next to the car park that facilitates people parking to go to the Starlight Shopping Plaza, and will go across the highway, northbound and southbound side, and will be will basically fall on the Franklin Street side of Diego Martin, and that's on the western side. So that walkover will basically, there's a heavy traffic but pedestrian flow out of that area. That's why we chose that location in consultation, of course, with the people who live in that area.
Okay, and tell us about exiting Diego Martin, that bottleneck. How is that going to be addressed?
Okay, but previously, before work started on the Diego Martin Highway expansion, what I should mention first of all, this project started really in March of 2010, and it was broken down to components or phases. The first phase, of course, was the widening of the exit off the Western Main Road into Diego Martin, going into where we are called Victoria Gardens. That was the first phase, basically. The second phase, of course, was the construction of culverts coming out of, leaving, of course, by Pitti Valley area, cutting across the Diego Martin Highway itself and into the Victoria Gardens area, demolition of the existing fence walls, and actually clearing of the roadway itself for phase 4 and phase 2. Of course, one of the other phases, of course, which was done by Pure, was the widening of the main road in front of Starlight Shopping Plaza, where there was a bottleneck taking place, as I mentioned before. There's no longer any bottleneck there. We have a lay-by, and we have two 3 lanes there going northbound. However, when the highway is commissioned, that local road between the Big Tree and Victoria Gardens on the main road will now be converted into a two-way local road, and of course, traffic wishing to go north into Diego Martin will utilize the newly constructed 2 new lanes going northbound, and of course, to enhance that will be acceleration lanes, much more proper design intersections at Moncoko, so there's no more bottlenecking at all.
That's excellent. Everything figured out. One more thing. Do you foresee any inconveniences from the arteries being cut off?
Not really. People may view the cutting off these arteries, particularly, well, of course, the turnaround at the Big Tree can no longer be facilitated. We have a highway going northbound there. There's no major inconvenience there, basically, because access now to the Diego Martin Highway will be through the Moncoko Road from the Diego Martin Main Road. The 2 other arteries that were cut off, of course, was the one going into Victoria Gardens that had to be cut off as well because of the highway movements, the new 2 lanes going north. The bow tie, a lot of people know it as the bow tie, 2 very dangerous turns will no longer exist, simply because we have widened that section of the highway to 5 lanes. 2 lanes coming from Caranage and 2 lanes coming from southbound Diego Martin Highway, and of course a lay-by lane to go into Powder Magazine Phase 1. Why we had to cut off, of course, first of all, the lane going into Powder Magazine 1, weaving across 4 lanes at that speed there will be very dangerous. If you want to go into the Phase 1 Powder Magazine, you have to go to the Moncoko intersection, turn around, make a right turn there, and of course hang left to enter into phase 1. If you want to turn around to, let's say, come out of Diego Martin and you want to turn around to go West Mall or to go further west, you'll have to proceed to Mukarapo intersection. There, of course, between the hours of 6:30 and 8:30, it's no long. It's not. You can't make that turn. You have to go to Lockport Street to turn onto Western Main Road to head back west. After 8:30, you can turn around at Mukarapo intersection to head back on the foreshore to head back west. And of course, the turnaround that people used to take coming off Diego Martin to head west into West Mall, that part of the bow tie will no longer exist, of course. So to get that turn, you have to proceed further west. And of course, if you're heading west and you want to turn back east, like they used to, right now we're facilitating that turn temporarily, you'll have to proceed to Moncoco intersection, up the main road, the new Diego Martin main road, turn right onto the Moncoco road, and then take a further right on the highway. It sounds long, but basically it shouldn't take more than 3-4 minutes. And for safety, it's well worth it.
Exactly, development and safety and a lot of good planning, well thought out. Minister Ramachan, tell us about the projects.
Well, firstly, let me congratulate Mr. Ganesh and the team who have done really an excellent job at bringing this highway to fruition. Just to let you know again, it is another project of the Ministry of Works that has been brought within the budget and within time. And next week the highway will be ready for commissioning. So the team at the Ministry of Works, they really deserve high praise. And again, it tells you about the quality of professionals we have in the ministry. You know, all the designs were done by local people and what have you. So I'm very proud of the team at the Ministry of Works and also the consultants and so on who worked on the project. The other projects, of course, that we are doing, including the Valencia Bypass, which is also a very important project, which will take traffic away from the Valencia Junction area. And we are also widening some bridges on the Valencia Road. And as a result of that, that will also ease up the traffic flow in that area. We are also doing a new bypass road by Caroni, because you remember the Motor Vehicle Authority building is going up there now, and you have 2 schools, a secondary school and a primary school in that area. You have the industrial estate, Frederick Settlement Industrial Estate there. So you'll be able to come, if you're coming from Cunupia, for example, and you reach that junction where you turn to go to Piaco through Kelly Village, or you come down the main road, you'll be able to come on this new road, a 4-lane road, and come straight up to the Caroni Bridge, or you can then go to the highway. So that's another project, of course, that's going to relieve traffic stress in that area. Today we started works on Warren Road coming into Ajura Road back onto the Southern Main Road, Cunupia. That's a project that has been outstanding. It was, we first did the drainage works. One of the things we are doing at the ministry is that we are trying to do drainage works prior to doing the road works. Because if you don't have the drains, the roads are going to collapse again. So, you know, sometimes the drainage works is more expensive than the road works themselves. So that project has also started today, and that will bring a lot of ease in
a lot of environmental
areas.
Considerations.
Yes,
as well.
definitely,
yes.
definitely
Yes.
a lot of that. So those are some of the projects, of course. Just put it in terms of figures under the Ministry of Works. Between pure and highways, there are approximately 1,465 projects going on. 1,065 projects going on. And if you add up all the projects that are also being done by the URP program, which also comes under me, in 1,965 locations in the country between September last year and let's say end of September this year, or October last year to September this year, you'll have had 1,965 locations in Trinidad where projects have happened under the ministry. That's a large number of projects to manage, and that's why I say they're doing very well.
Ministry that is definitely working for you. Do we still have that caller from Kumoto? Caller from Kumoto, good evening.
Hello, good night, Dr. Ramachan
Hi, good night.
and Mr. Ganesh. I'm calling from Haruki Trace and Tata to be exact. Concerning a landslide that has been happening for more than 4 years now.
Yes, that's the landslip, right?
Yes, I know you're aware of it.
Are you the young one who's in medical school?
Yes.
Right, very good. It's a very interesting story. Thank you, I'll answer your question. A very interesting story about this young man. I've never met him.
Yes.
I spoke to his mother on telephone many, many years ago while I was on radio myself, and they didn't have electricity, and he was studying to go to write A-level exams and to get into medical school. And I must compliment TNTech. I spoke to them by phone about it, told them this young man's story, and TNTech went in and put in the lights in Harku-Trace. That's way down Komodo San Grande, and he got into medical school by passing his exams. But it shows you that there are children in this country who want to achieve, and they sacrifice. To let you know, the 2 landslips in Harku-Trace have been approved. One is costing approximately 4 million, one is costing 3 million. The designs are almost complete, and the landslips are going to be done. What has happened is his house is threatened by the landslip, and it has leaned in a particular way. So I want to assure you that before the end of the year, you're going to have those landslips up. Those walls up, sorry.
Great. Caller from Pitty Valley. Hello.
Hi, good night. I wanted to find out about the issue with the shoulders being it so widened now since you all have been doing the highway. If you all are planning to put speed bumps so that the vehicles that deciding to speed on it will no longer have use of doing that it will be actually used for what it's for. Do you all have plans to put speed bumps there?
Well, not really. The shoulders really are designed to international standard. And of course, shoulders are supposed to be used in emergencies like all shoulders in the country. What we hope, of course, and what we intend to is enforce the law where people use the shoulders as a lane, but illegally. There is a program, there's a project we have in the Ministry Right on the Highways Division to utilize shoulders at peak periods in other parts of the country, along the Sierra Highway and along the Ural Butler Highway and Solomon Hochul Highway. But in the Diego Martin area where we have increased capacity, the shoulders are primarily for emergency purposes only and not to be a true lane at all. But the law will be enforced, and who wants to use the shoulder will basically be prosecuted.
There are 2 things I'll add to that. Mr. Ganesh is very right. We have to encourage a different level of discipline also in terms of how we use our roadways. But I would let Mr. Ganesh tell you a little more about that project where we intend to use the shoulders in order to alleviate some of the traffic congestion on mornings. But we also have a project called red light enforcement. And this red light enforcement is a project in which the cameras are going up at the lights. And if you break those lights, you are getting a picture of your number plate, the time at which it happened, and so on. Actually, Roger probably is much more accurate with the number of infractions we have had at Wrightson Road. But you would not believe how many official vehicles are breaking those lights on a daily basis. The cameras are already up, by Wrightson Road, except that the legislation has to be passed. So that's red light enforcement. And then we are coming with another one, spot speed enforcement. We are going to be testing this in 5 areas. The project has been approved by Cabinet, and the cameras are also going to go up. Now, what is going to happen? We are putting up more and more cameras all across the country on the highways. And at the Ministry of Works, we have a command center where we can actually see now a lot of the highways, and we can see the infractions that are taking place by motorists. These new cameras also have the capacity to take pictures. We can now come back and call people and say, listen, you have been doing a wrong thing on the road. How about correcting what you're doing? So we intend to enforce all of this. And for example, if people are also speeding along the shoulder, we'll be able to pick them up. And maybe give them a nice call and say, how about if you stop this?
Courtesy call.
Yeah, a courtesy call. Yes.
Hear that, drivers? Our eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Right? We have a call from Cookereet. Hello?
Hi, good night to the panel.
Good night.
How are you all?
Fine.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Ramachan, good job in the Martin Powder magazine for roads,
Thank you.
The highway, very nice, but they're using it now in the night for drag racing.
Yes.
But, what I want to ask you, we were promised in Powder magazine 29 years ago a walkover. What is the position with that, Mr. Ramachan, please?
I know you raised that with Mr. Ganesh a couple of days ago, I believe, because maybe Mr. Ganesh can respond to you on it.
Yes, only about a couple of weeks ago, we met with a delegation from the residents of Powder Magazine Phase 1. And yes, you are right, a large number of persons do cross that area to get access to the westbound side and also to get access to High-Low and the mall and other areas. And a walkover will be constructed. In fact, we are doing what we call the numbers right now to actually justify the cost of this walkover. But from the preliminary investigations I have done so far, yes, it will be. It's warranted, and it will be done very shortly.
Just to let you know, Ms. Joseph, a walkover is a very expensive thing.
I imagine, yes.
For example, a walkover like we built at Urupoon cost about just under $5 million. But a walkover can cost you, depending on how long the walkover is, as much as $10 million or more. Because you see, when you're building, you're really building the foundation you are concerned about, and you're building not for 1 year, you're building for 100 years, sorry. So this is how we're doing.
It's a long-term investment. Yeah.
Just a quick example. We are now starting work on Rivulet Road in Couva, what you call the Point Lisas Link Road. Now that road has deteriorated very badly. The last time that road was repaved was 2005. And the contractor who is doing that road has to build a road and guarantee it for 20 years. So this is the exacting standards now that we are asking of the contractors. 20 years that contractor will have, has to build that road. So Mr. Roger Ganesh and others have set the standards in line with American international standards. And the contractor is using a particular technology that he has used in other parts of the world. Just interesting something. We have a contractor, Danny's Enterprises, and he works on building roads in Costa Rica, Guatemala, Panama, all over. And he has really done well with this particular technology, and he's going to be using it on our roads. He used it recently, Roger, on the Beetham highway where we did the roadworks there.
Good. So expertise at all levels. You want to tell us more about the Pure projects?
Well, sure. As I said, we have this year 740 pure projects that are going on. The Pure projects are taking place all over the country. We are just about to rehabilitate several sections of the highway from north to south, but especially from the area of Taruba by the technical school, coming right up on the northbound lane to Couva in particular, and then going back south. We have large sections of the highway that need to be rehabilitated. And then there's a section in front of the Taruba Stadium where we have had several road failures. Well, we are doing some extensive soil tests in that area before we try to do any more work there. So this time when we do work, we know the nature of the soil we are dealing with. And sometimes, that takes a little longer, but we need to do that in order to have the proper design.
Of course, proper planning,
to do the
proper
works.
Foundation. Yes.
We are going to be coming up with a new list of roads, and right now I'm in discussions with the different members of parliament as to what will be included in the new PSIP program for the for the new fiscal year. So a lot of areas where people are waiting for their roads, things are going to happen. Look, we had inherited a very bad situation with infrastructure in the country, really very bad situation. And I think, if I may say so, we have done pretty well in bringing it back to where it is. I know the people of Beach, for example, are worried about their situation. I want to assure them that we are doing designs for the Beach area also. And just to let you know, most of these designs are done within Pure themselves. And as I said before, we have saved over $250 million because the designs are being done in-house.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, and see you next week on WeTV here on CTV.